This week, the FDA established the Coronavirus Treatment Accelerator program, which is expediting the development of new antiviral and other therapies, and they're doing it on a very rapid basis. And I think we're having some very good results. We'll tell you about that. HHS continues to speed the development of therapies derived from human blood that have the potential to lessen the severity or shorten the length of the illness. And as you know, last Saturday, the FDA also gave emergency authorization for hydroxychloroquine. And the hydroxychloroquine is I hope it's going to be a very important answer. We're having some very good things happening with it, and we're going to be distributing it through the Strategic National Stockpile. It's going into the Strategic National Stockpile to treat certain patients, and we have millions and millions of doses of it, 29 million to be exact. In addition to that, we're making it, and we're also getting it from various other locations and countries. In one case, I called Prime Minister Modi of India this morning. They make large amounts of hydroxychloroquine, very large amounts, frankly. And I said they had a hold because, you know, they have 1.5 billion people, and they think a lot of it. And I said I'd appreciate if they would release the amounts that we ordered, and they are giving it serious consideration. But they do India makes a lot of it. But we have already 29 million, if you look, I mean, that's a big number, 29 million doses. And we've got millions of doses that are being made here and many millions of doses that are made elsewhere that are being shipped here, and it will be arriving. We're just hearing really positive stories, and we're continuing to collect the data, but I'll just speak for myself. It's been out for a long time. It's a malaria drug. It's also a drug for lupus. And there's a study out that people with lupus aren't catching this horrible virus. They're not affected so much by it. Now, maybe that's correct. Maybe it's false. You're going to have to check it out. But there's a lot of very positive things happening with that. That's a game changer if that's the case. Obviously, we continue to work on the vaccines, but the vaccines have to be down the road by probably 14, 15, 16 months. We're doing great on the vaccines. I think Johnson & Johnson is leading, seems to be leading in terms of the studies, but we'll see what happens. But I feel good about that, but that's down the road. But tremendous promise with what's just been mentioned. In addition to that, Gilead Sciences has initiated a phase 3. That's down the line, meaning clinical studies of the drug remdesivir. Now, it's approximately 1,000 patients, which is a pretty good study. Other drugs are also being studied in patients. And this week, Oracle, great company, donated a new web portal. Larry Ellison, amazing guy, and platform to the government to gather real-time data on how patients are responding to the various new treatments. And they have a very sophisticated site, and we'll be learning a lot from Oracle, and thank you to them.
Last week, as the president said, we issued an emergency use authorization to allow the donated hydroxychloroquine to come into the country and enter the general circulation. We are prioritizing this drug to come in for clinical trials, also into general use for physicians, because as you know, physicians, based upon their interaction with the patients, their assessment of the risks and benefits, can write a prescription for hydroxychloroquine if they think it's appropriate for the patient. Being a physician, we do this all the time, and that assessment needs to be done between a patient and a doctor. And then the third portion is we wanted to make sure that these drugs were in the circulation, in the supply chain, so that people who have them or need them for the other indications, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, had them available. So that was the purpose of the emergency use authorization. One other thing I'd like to mention is that we on Friday stood up a formal convalescent plasma program. We have a great deal of enthusiasm for that. There are some reports that this is of benefit to patients in other countries who have had the COVID-19 virus. And what this means is taking plasma from patients who've had the virus and who have recovered and transferring the immunity, the immunoglobulins, if you will, the immunity from that person to someone who's sick. And we're hopefully expanding that across the country. The Red Cross is involved in that program, and I think it shows a great promise. It needs to be studied like other things, but just like I said before, it provides hope. We don't want to provide false hope, but definitely hope. Thank you.
And as I told you, I spoke to Prime Minister Modi. We're getting more of it, but we have a lot of it. And I hope they use it because it's been used for a long time, and therefore it's passed the safety test. FDA has been terrific. Dr. Hahn, I appreciate it very much, too. But I've seen some results. Now, it's early, I guess. It's early, but and they should look at the lupus thing. I don't know what it says, but there's a rumor out there that because it takes care of lupus very effectively, as I understand it, it's a drug that's used for lupus. So there's a study out there that says people that have lupus haven't been catching this virus. No, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. Why don't you investigate that? And there's also other studies, with the malaria, that the malaria countries have very little people that take this drug for malaria, which is very effective for malaria, that those countries have very little of this virus. I don't know. You're going to check it out. But I think people should, if it were me, in fact, I might do it anyway. I may take it. Okay? I may take it. And I'll have to ask my doctors about that, but I may take it.